is Boadu TV. Truth and integrity.
Yaba mu nyina akabe aha Boadu TV na asemo ho nyina ne se nana Otu Darko ese Bawumia kwokasa ai ensem bi ne nam se oye hiani a wontimi ndi president chese oboy kuti akọ Kennedy camp se Kennedy so wiska eti ono no Bawumia hiani no ono no ni sike nyina egu ne tirim chese na adwen bo economic messiah ena Otu Darko se we ni economic messiah no ena obetena so be ye Ghana cedi ne poto ekufado se ni ntino kofa wo bae afi Bawumia ja cedi na to ena dollar na ebu cedi no ena wode digital ena digital na wakobi we ya no agise wante se digital bi tweme na wakobi ya no enne mahama bae ye hu se they have the men, NDC have the men, and they are doing it. What I say? Konton so di twiem Seth Terkpe so betranse. E hihye nneoma moyeye. The MPP ba yo mbese no. A nei nneoma hye ase san ye adwuma bio. Seth Terkpe ne enim se ko besan beba as finance minister. Asem bi ho kan ye nti. Dan fama. Oh yes, na Otu Darko wa fire pa. Na yenkuti.
Bawumia nso akaza. And sometimes I never be a silly, you know. Funny to me. And ni ura Bawumia kan say ono sabi osusu say onyeskeni, which I know so ska. But for political reasons, osusu say onyeskeni. And that nisika sem nyina na dream oti owo. Or say he's rich in ideas. He's rich in the brain. It is only fiscal cash. And you see, in the name of appeal to pity, we no can say a poor man can be president. Nobody has said only rich people should be president. Nobody said that. Certainly, you one who chile one more. You one more two. Uhia fitemo. Mechere ohia ekum koto eto anya prada so. We have people like that. Yeah, they deserve roles in leadership. Eti yebe wura sa asemnum na yenunu ne kakra. Ye do wura ba me asam ne beto nsene yani. Na ya massage ne kakra. I know that akuti ani nyina ekoma akompre ku Ken Agyapong. Of course, I am more issues. I'm not too interested. But you be wrong because look, Muntimi me ha Ghana. Tell me ye. Mo Ghana. Mo Ghana. Mbra Ghana su. You cannot send this economy to an unrecoverable ditch. And you John Dramani Mahama. Ana nyankopo adom ye nya no a. Anka Ghana gusu ewura amna donko a yensan ye chibio. And you have people like that. We will not allow that to happen. Because of politics, because some of you want to be flag bearers of MPP. No, we will still judge you by your words. We will still judge you by a dreamer. Bawumia, a former vice president of the country, isn't it? He doubles as former chairman of the economic management team of Ghana. A baby be a fair economy ho or no stress so see. Ya baby sensembi near the atoto economy ne ho when he was vice president. Ye we are near bisa say idea was so rich in ideas, rich in the brain. No, did it reflect in all those sectors? And that time, how rich was he in the brain? That time, how rich was Dr. Bawumia in ideas? These are questions we are going to ask. Oh yeah. These are questions we are going to ask anyway. Eti yebe se adwuma no ene ewie. But yenu no ma mo Facebook misra mo aya na mo so mo de mo comments aba na bibia I guy. Now diplomatic first list na babonte no. Me kire a consulate general, the ambassadors, high commissioners, one more a Ghana in Sianamu Wamanonino. And very, very fantastic. I said, I'm a kind of are you there to Facebook or Kano? Oh, are you something to so? Na me kind of tifo. Yeah. So, I'm just saying, Ghana for who room and hey, Namo young for Ghana and Shabonsa. Namo me Ghana poto. Nama saying ya ahwade. Or say, I may not be rich, but I have rich ideas. Poor people can also be president of Ghana. But I'm here to MMDCs. Because most of the time it's clear. Say, we will say Ken Agyapong because we was kind of idea. So he's throwing jobs. And I'm going to subject same way to when he was chairman of the economic management team, to when he was vice president of the Republic of Ghana, to when he was flag bearer of MPP. Niyabisa say same are working rich ideas. No, how did those rich ideas impact the economy of Ghana? Because if you had rich ideas, I mean, you're sure to MPP. No. Your rich ideas should have reflected in the pocket of the people. Your rich ideas should have reflected on more trouble roads. Your rich ideas should have reflected in our health sector. Agenda 111. Were you able to finish just one and commit the key to Ghanaians? Certainly no. Yawa my wemu. Ama Mami Lodina Mahama. And you sue Lodina Foundation. You see, I keep talking about this woman. Look, I don't care. I don't care whether or not I meet Lodina Mahama. But I care about Enyema Pa, Lodina Mahama, Dini Foundation, ya, Ebwa Ghana, a baby batra so meant me. That be, Saka First Lady should not behave to say Lodina Mahama. Ghana would have been a very beautiful place to live. Lodina Mahama was in opposition. Because you remember, say His Excellency the President, Beka said, Nini maybe one name, Mammy waited in the more room. Any Crofoki Kabum making sure, say, very prime but vulnerable areas, Sabi, a ba apomode someone Queen or basic full hospitals, as is one. And Mammy Lodina Bahama, yes, and she was in opposition. At the time when Mami Lodina Mahama, ACC hospitals, Eya Doye, Ebwanyanka, extra fees for brilliant but needy scholars. You know, that time na Ora Bambia and Otu Darko Akufo-Addo say, Omusu hospitals. Now check this. Lodina Mahama, when you're president. Lodina Mahama, when you're chairman of the economic management team. Yeah? Lodina Mahama, Obianko Tuaba Enyino. So Lodina Mahama can decide to say, Sabita Frate, Sabin Penifwedim, will be a Jumangu Mibotum. It means you sumisi Kenya, me were man and an animal, it has some help. But Otu Darko Akufo-Addo, you could generate also to Abamon. Otu Darko Akufo-Addo, yes, your taxes, yet one night, Triano. What more fine judgment? Otu Darko Akufo-Addo Bawumia. There were some statutory funds. They say Heritage Fund, Stabilization Fund, Ghana Infrastructure Fund, Energy Sector Levy. There were funds that John Dramani Mahama, including Sinking Fund, were just to one who say, what more fine judgment? On top of that, Ghana Fortune. On top of that, one more called Bob. In fact, Mahama free so na Ghana can 122 billion. Na Akufo-Addo no Bawumia free so na Ghana can abalu from 122 billion to 721 billion. See Ghana there. And yet, agenda 111 na musi might be uncommit. Udi ankamu wie ba ko na mufa kini shensa. O mantimi age. Lodina Mahama Babesia. Tio, Lodina Mahama Babesia wo opposition. Etimi wie all these hospitals. Now, Bekabi Mientia say, oh, rich ideas. Rich ideas, sir. No, you see, sometimes,
yeah, but see toilets in all. Yeah, but see.
And I'm a boy, Sabi, we did me. But adwuma we assemblyman adwuma. I just say bia yes this huge edifice bia. Then you as vice president no about assemblyman adwuma. So these are the rich ideas. When John Dramani Mahama uti penso in the contest elections. Tell John Dramani Mahama is too big. Mami nyusu Lodina Mahama. Mama Lodina Mahama ayi ni bi awasi. Hospitals ni bi awasi. Because me kobo John Dramani Mahama dia. Mami will collapse. Oh yes. Because me can see John Dramani Mahama AG Rich Hospital.
Sorry now.
John Dramani Mahama can say okay, me nyusu rich. Me use University of Ghana Medical Center. Or almost some of the end besia. Oni New Rata Mills, a committee 100-bed facility hospital, Atomic, opposite the Atomic Dam Police Station. Or about me some of the end beba. Mama will be confused with my car rich ideas be. Look, there have been a lot of gendarme in this country. There have been a lot of they used against Ghanaians in 2016 elections. And then trying to form a bit dismantling throne. Because the moment we keep quiet, this rich idea statement will fester. Meanwhile, some rich so-called idea, and Ghana, when you were vice president of this country, when you were chairman of the economic management team, John Dramani Mahama no kura meka so rich idea no. Uko Kumasi Osise we hospital, Afari hospital, Kumawu hospital. Polyclinics ahodwa John Dramani Mahama this Sram Ghana fanengina. Me say John Dramani Mahama he's in his own world. Mama me forget it John. Mama me Mrs. Lodina Mahama. Mrs. Lodina Mahama cry you cannot beat her when it comes to building hospitals and giving it out. Or Babisia a will position. Timisi hospitals. Or Babisia. Lodina Mahama, your baby, with no disrespect to women, please. But the point is that Mpempi, you know, a man can come who will name say ma, and not miss stress on Obabesia, but with no disrespect to women. I believe in the capabilities of women. What men can do, you know, most of the time, women can do as well. I believe in your intelligence as well. I believe in the capacity of women. Me, I'm not a misogynist. I do not hate women. I love women. Me doma. Na mempema. Oh, come mama, fantastic. I feel I'm a huh? Where Nana Owusu a town Brimpong the second maternity ward ate susu ana kwame ate busu anade ate susu me ba cho any ade to Facebook no o ba besia ne siwi wo wieye anodi ki no ma Ghana for won ka se mo ye adwuma bosome ahina mo benya mo first kanemre Lodina Mahama wo dia ta. This is what Mrs. Lodina Mahama could do even on your vice president or your president or your babesia I know what position over Bawumia rich ideas ni nyina had no anya we bi kwa me pa cho mama on limit ma me no nya weapon we see she has done a lot. Where does that monkey to? Don't worry, if you're not getting it, when you get them, fine. But where monkey to? Made the example here, so a monkey to. So the point I am making is say, Bawumia cannot keep on talking about rich ideas when Obabesia Lodina Mahama kure kano. And mame, baby I would hear in bia. Now that you are in power, I want to see more. Because mame si ejawo krom ha. Emwa odeba bua omwe ni bie. Enkan ma eni nkwada no. Awurade ni bechipa. Me pacho entiano bia beka continue building. Consider the vulnerable. And therefore, say na de bia why wadwene so obeboam, continue supporting them. Hey, na ka first lady bia ye adwuma to say Mrs. Lodina Mahama. The only first lady I met me aka say me de ne beto to ma me Lodina Mahama ho eye Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings yire no. Mrs. Kunadu Ajman Rawlings. Time wa year 31st December movement. Ah! Kwame. Fantastic. Me ba to mo hwe CTV no mahunu. When nyina Lodina Mahama o. Owura Bawumia rich idea ni nyina wanti mama manye we bi. Obabesia Mrs. Lodina Mahama. Enime wo mu nyina o. The woman no opposition. Won no ye ni nyina. One no ye ni nyina. Eti with me nyan ma mo Facebook no mo ese me starting mo kompa. Yes, because we SOB a share be 10 times, 15 times. 100 million billion 1,000 times. Maybe I say that this one is 100 million billion 1,000 times. Say yes, you are in your own world. So if Mrs. Lodina Mahama, you see the reason why we should keep sharing this, and they say, and throw those was system too much. Because you rubber me can ye German that Habaka say normal or rich ideas. So the relations said you try because of rich ideas. Meanwhile, your man power and the rich ideas and you're going to be. And I make sure so Barbesio no crank or rich ideas. No opposition. Nani kunya president. No bien trianica. Na akatriano kura ni kundi ananko. What Mrs. see a done with the kini magana for. And these hospitals anyabako were CC bebre. And so a whole MPP government and hospital bako in agenda 111 and from Magana for. Onu kura Lord Dina Mahama Castle rich ideas. No rabba me so rich ideas. Oh, if you think I am being biased, let's go on this way. As chairman of the economic management team, time where MPP a free abenyanosono. Na inflation rate at the same. These are the basic economic indicators. Now inflation rate at the 23 point something %. 6 months time. John Dramani Mahama buy. Inflation that's saying about 18+%. It's John Dramani Mahama no crank us all rich ideas no. John Dramani Mahama credit makweni mami you so to forcing. Well we to forcing. I know race manua. One crank us all more rich ideas in just 6 months. Oma moving inflation from 23% about 18%. Ratty. Ahine penka sampa. Ankre. Inflation rate is just one of them. Consider exchange rate. Over John Dramani Mahama time, na 4 cedis 20 pesos to $1 or 4 cedis to $1. Mebwa. Ano Bawumia and another damn kwaku for the country say he's the economic messiah. Nigerians also economic whiskey. And to one your neighbor, by Yajuma Bank of Ghana, or by Yaniamaye. Yeah, Ouda Mahama no only economist. And yet, by virtue of his position as vice president to Ora Atamos, a radical say, now chairman of the economic management team, no. Otimi $1 to see the 4 cities to $1. Economic whiskey, an economic messiah nebaya, dollar ne free 4 cities. Across 17 cities to $1. Rich ideas way, Anna over Bawumia also rich ideas way, rich ideas that you could not even affect the appreciation of the Ghanaian city. Obi to say Ken Agyapong Bawumia say, "Oh my president that." So it's difficult to fault Ken Agyapong for now. Oh, my president that. And the Americans say, but who you can't say, or my vice president, but what about vice president? And you have acted as president so many times when the president was away. So many times. John Dramani Mahama time 54 billion borrow yeah. Look, and they'll do them na tria. As a way up Heathrow Airport. The small monies John Dramani Mahama munyaye want to me the infrastructure, more roads. Overpass, look, overpass ikura wopokwasi. John Mahama mun secure France no. Yes, see been sida West Africa no. John Mahama mun secure France no. Time overpass no. John Mahama mun secure France na no moko. Obeche bi lamte. John Mahama mun secure South France no. In fact, ansa na MPP kraba no. Na John Dramani Mahama mo IMF no mko no ba kopa no Argentina ka 2 tranches. Na Kufuor Samba G 2 tranches de ka ho. Owura Bawumia you see to the appropriation of the purse through the finance minister as head of the economy. Remember, rich ideas, no? How did that impact a minor woman? How did that impact a minor woman? How did that impact a minor woman? And we will not sit down for people to throw dust into the eyes of the citizens of our country. A term is a view. Nakoka. Yes, Uraba me rich ideas. We need rich ideas. Be a wute your man of power in this country, and we did not see it. Gandhi, no, you hear him to obey a president in India. Lin Kuan Yew, we need to obey a president in Singapore. Abdul Tunku Rahman, you hear me obey a president in Malaysia. Sekou Toure, no, you hear me obey a president in Guinea. In Nambia Zikwe, women are here for obey a president in Nigeria. Samora Machel, obey a president in Mozambique. Look, Madiba on the Friskam Kakra. Madiba, I can't say, hey Salasi, Rastafari Makonnen, Nidian Kasano. But Mandela, when you know, I yes out. It will hear any dear, if you are leaders, did that. What I say, but we are talking about practicalizing the richness of ideas. Prince Kujo Fosuare, and Prince, I agree with you. Huh? And the mothers, I say you were VIP for 8 years, Massa. Hey, Eto Rabamia, now what rich ideas to say? Anama Ghana Breyer for the past 8 years. Our rich ideas, no, affected positively the exchange rate. Rich ideas, Orabamia, I appreciate a city to Mahama. No, I will say, be only rich ideas, no. Mahama to me keep dollar to city or 4 cities. Wow, rich ideas. Peja city to dollar call about 17 Ghana cities. What are you talking about? No, what's not the all rich ideas? Hey, now before cry, sometimes I don't understand. Now my dream because Charlie. Say yo, scam. Say no the best president, scam. No more best scamming the whole country. Say Nana Akufo the best scamming Ghana. Say no more scamming Ghana. They come and scam the whole country.
Say Nanwa Iran any Israel Queen Shasi no. Ghana for Pio Momunim de what true ni Edwama who does a ban of fango some project say fango bobe costro. Tinado no anticipate say last window na fuel price window price from the buy no. Never costro but because exchange rate no I work from Linton and me so. You see a nyanity say yes a kwan be a da Iran arch say hona fango do na the world market better honey they fan is a quite tempo no. As America for so almost Iran for some over blockade a quan and some more blockade the I say fango crebima. Penny say Obibaboa Obiba yo we and say one caswa brewa. And as Obibaboa mo susua and say wa usu. Nakopa adom yensu tu fango ni bi. President Rollins Efri Abemu not all a year juma. President Kofoba no or heritage Ghana economy not all a year juma. 8 years of Kufuor governance left all collapsed. And ukra nanchen esa boy kanya menko Ghana Commercial Bank kragui. So kan 1.5 billion to debt. Some kind Ghana Commercial Bank ni National Investment Bank NIB that's NIB almost so far papa because of toll and the doing something at a point now say shut it down aye temavaku yes vaku ni twin kania pa sabre kofo dum so tie shut it down vaku
2005
yes abai so toll no so twin kania pa ni di collapse toll must buy ano be kisho say or yeah ni timi tu at debt recovery no omko fa at debt recovery di buy ye class aka no edu mahama so mahama e make sure say to e ye adwuma enti 2016 before mahama be fra ban mu no na to e ye adwuma kwame wada ko ono an ne peni kwanchefo no hwe bust ono an na toss one no anato ashase e refine fuel e wo Ghana ko bi beka say Kufuor ni MPP a visionary a ka mo discover oil omo se betu oil wo Ghana no sabre no na wo se nkomo hwe se to no dia yi bi o me revive it. But that wasn't their cancer vision because MPP's ideology said government has no business in doing business. Almost in your band said so by idea be this cabeba. I did this cabe money be there was a young crankra. So what MPP did under Akufo-Addo when Akufo-Addo also inherited a year functional tour na ye juma from Mahama no Akufo-Addo buy no to collapse it all. Jeno ye do ye ni say to afi almost storage facilities no and omode ma MPP financiers and to mo ko top finish oil product no at the bar omuni baby de gu ntino mo e de akọ no me de akọ kogu sa storage facilities na e wo ho no because so mo ma to ye adwuma sika no be ba Ghana for ho ordinary Ghanaian ho beto no esanse e be refine fu no fa wa ne bo be kofom be ba sa MPP financiers may no get money and still yensa and collapse it all na fi yen rent it all the facilities in fama MPP financiers. That's why Akufo-Addo did for 8 good years. Wama to anya adwuma ekowi ase enye NDC ene buy a enkene MPP kwaton to because it was part of MPP Akufo-Addo's government plan to privatize to somewhere 2022 ena na pombe ka kire yense 2023 private ownership take over so kan komo ton to senye NDC aban ne buy a enkene Commander Sugar Factory nke ton Sagleme Kiaton. Mention them. Ye ton bibia. Say ye na to ye juma. Ene nyanko pandaruma. Talo susu asase ese tu fango. Any other kaze companies o mutu fango o munyina Akufo-Addo kankani proni dream. Te say Cosmos Energy o munyina free Ghana. Ene Mahama ba ndisi ba masaba. Tomu said be too fango. Say to ye juma. What it means ni say enka sa Israel any Iran war we e be affect ekura Ghana ni yehu because ye fuel consumption nke ntimi kura no ye betimi a refine and a produce almost 50% our ha enti other countries omuni bi su anka Ghana nke yensu but because of amamu boni abande dada ne betwa amuni sabonum twa enti no minu ka say to eguso oye adwuma nyame ya adom a o se somewhere October ana be sha say refinery as a refinery fuel ti yemfa ne say e free sabre June ekosi October say Iran any Israel wo yi akoso na nyama get worse a Ghana ye be sofa ye petrol bu no be sa akosoro kosi say e bia to be sha say na adwuma ansana etumi abafom Intine kase amamuo eya adwen eni ani swade hunu every good leader bia we do man say visionary Kwame Nkrumah a visionary Kwame Nkrumah esi akosombo dam sabre na Kwame Nkrumah yi temamoto we sabre no anafi na Kwame Nkrumah esi to because Kwame Nkrumah ni so si to no a kasa kese kofa oil temahabo eho ena niama ni nyina befa ba no si temamoto we
silos na
silos so si anuane no si temamoto because onim say heavy trucks ena befa motor we no so na heavy trucks no normal coal road no ebetutu ntem entina o ye concrete road visionless MPP omo nananom road to IMF and World Bank say Kwame Nkrumah is cement ye cement ye si na de ye o de ye kwan the road to World Bank
what can all the year kwan kra say now the year from
the road to World Bank Kwame Nkrumah esi akosombo dam Ghana population then was about 5 million or so MPP unana for say Ghana population kakra we ukosi dam kakra ka we dey den a waste of money the road to IMF and World Bank say mo musika but after 60 years 65 years Akosombo Dam still remains the #1 reliable source of energy generation I will have in this country.
I do.
Temamoto Way still remains #1 highway in Ghana. Tema still remains the biggest harbor in Ghana. Tema oil refinery still remains the biggest refinery in Ghana. Nkrumah yeni nyina. But because Vision MPP nintino.
No, he's making a very serious point.
Yes, Vision MPP nintino.
Vacuum so sir.
Baby omu ye bia Vaku Kwame Nkrumah all of them omu running everything down. When MPP came, what did they do? After deliberately collapsing a year tall, said about mobile turn it to storage facility for their businesses. No, and on one side, she's a BA, another refinery, said friend sent you oil refinery. Say China for there. No, a kufa na busi for there.
Sent you no.
Yes, a kufa na busi for there. Almost say kwa pay tax exemption.
Are you sure say kufa the money sent you?
Mama ka se bichiro.
No, maybe
you are there. Mama ka se bichiro. Every when Akufo-Addo buy 2017 in the even the existing companies and for investors are no more invest. Omba na catch us say aba. You investment now why give us 25% stake. And I be good business. Omo na buying o ma ye adwuma ma buying do omo ka contractors. Your bar, they charge you from $250,000, $500,000 to $1 million US. Pay before they pay you. Omo ya fekwa do man feri biom. Omo they buy e go catch the contractors say contractors are buying omo ka say wo ka no ya ton wo ka no dia ma Fidelity Bank and to go to Fidelity Bank oko Fidelity Bank na ka say ye taking some percentage. And Sunny the Sikarama. It happened here.
No, it's true.
And all these all these companies you see.
It's a serious contractor.
Chinese company, all of them belongs to Akufo-Addo and his family. Now China funded they're just frontiers or more frontier and they are more okay. Officers have frontiers. Frontiers na the battle terminal train no. The DJ COVID schedule no. Akufo-Addo na busi achebi ni sebi achimi ni Akufo-Addo ni ti na officer we Jimmy. Na kofa alata ni se braba jiska million we na fa ne kokodi frontiers no enye kan say na na asati be die to da na yire nya no ofa ento mo na yusu Nigeria for no ento tiedi no frontiers diani or frontier frontiers or frontier to mo do frontier Nigeria so mo di Jesus kan ko di ye that's what they are. And always we will make progress as a country. Kwame Nkrumah ba be ye UP tradition e ba be seno. Rollins ba be ye Kufuor tradition ba be seno. Atamas Mahama be build it. Akufo-Addo be ba be seno. Now Mahama and NDC is building again. MPP once again is building themselves to take over in the near future so that they can destroy it. Enti nkena tokwa kesi ye kwaso no ka Ghana nke esu ebrenie say uko Nigeria Dangote afi na obenya sika because Dangote refinery na wesi no na no ko Nigeria wa to over tens of thousand tanker trucks because won say war na aba no a biggest opportunity for Dangote and to acquire trucks are fed or they be distribute downstream ediako because say Iran fonya to kwan say green business aba opportunity be na Ghana here take oil say tunu wa here na de bia me ka kire Ghana for say about to so so Bawumia say den o vision or ideas awofo de omo baba omo doba omo princess amount awade se kowaren befa ba ye de na chew ene ne wona tie badin enfie nwotwe omo baaya se bi obare ne bra krampa hoda omo abefa no ede na akobosumi nsi achi wabegye omo pranchi bom se afedie wakowi se bi o eye 20 ni esuru sane form we sa enti afi na ba ma na gina so pa enti e ma kwan na wo be born nta ye ma no kwan we de wo de born ba ko pe entafo afi do ideas because Akufo-Addo the same thing 40 years Akufo-Addo katre Ghana for so wonim nyansa sin obia when the Ghanaians made mistake on the opportunity ma Akufo-Addo anybody away Bawumia ideas na o kan ne de hin Bawumia na kasa bie na num to katre en say ebra dollar kosro petrol kosro bibia tete pansam ye no eno kodae na ne tikesie so no daye eno hu adwen say no, the panacea to Ghana's economic problem is good for oil policy. Ti Bawumia utie Bawumia so ono ankasa ene da adwene ye na idea ni brain chart eno kofa good for oil policy de buy. Good for oil policy Bawumia ka che say be niema miensa. 1, good for oil policy no ebe boa ma ye sidi no a na ni monyama to fom no ebe kofom ebe gina because I feel the $6 and the akwamano ne akoto petrol ne na pressure the city so and the city be stabilize. Number 2, oka try and say ebe boa ma petrol bo ayefo because $6 ne $1 ne be determine the prices at the beko. Bawumia kasase mu ni ade kire. 3, ebe boa ma cost of living akofom because cost of living is always driven by petroleum prices. And 1, ebe stabilize city. 2, ebe ma eye petrol bo akofom. 3, ebe reduce cost of living. This is what Bawumia told us. Bawumia be kire say 2024 election. Omo be kire say even class good for oil policy in na eye eno ne pilot implementation. Entinka after 2024 say MPP na win on a win ya obe institutionalize no. Afedi e ba fibo. Bawumia she good for oil policy na say 2022.
Yeah.
2023 o ma me mu akontantre yen. Even when Ghanaians were demanding, why na ye di gold ne koma no?
Middleman
bang. Yes, you can't trade that. Oh. Sir, Templeton bond. One the middleman, yan trade that.
COVID-19, you're middleman.
But never catch as a good for oil policy is successful. Abua Ghana. That's a yan in a bayanka Ghana. Your economy no collapse here. Nano Bank of Ghana Eden report to buy 2023 first year of gold for policy implementation. Ghana boka 1.82 billion Ghana cedis.
Adiye se benyan faso.
No. Kotoko kumba.
Ya boko zain.
1.82 billion Ghana cedis according to Bank of Ghana. 2024 ye boka 317 million Ghana cedis.
Good for oil
policy. Just 2 years no. E boyeka 2.1 billion Ghana cedis. So on average, every year be ye boka 1 billion. And so idea we na boga na ka 1 billion, but me says onko we near onko babe institutionalize no. It means afibia na boka na de ko. But me idea also the buy in ye. And about me is telling Ghana for so idea.
Yeah, because all rich ideas.
Say all rich ideas. Yes. These same rich ideas no they call Zimbabwe. Eko wi ase ne asese sika $5 million ne de gu hibaru ne da koto brodo abe eti anopa yesesa Zimbabwe dollar e gu koko botom se de koko da koko kwani ko koko kracha ko kret na ode kwa koto just bo fruit e de anum koko keke na bag dan ko ho sika na Bawumia ne economy no ideas Bawumia ka che se wono na the father of digitalization in this country. Now, because of digitalization, I eliminate ghost names in every Ghana. I get you wanka.
Okay.
Now, National Service, thereby 87,000 ghost names. Your team generated 87,000 ghost names from 2018 to 2024. 6 good years. Sab Renwa Napko for Esu. I ain't your mokano. Na ye tria and samanfoka. Na Bawumia no ye dede say there's no ghost names in our payroll because we in that 6 months 6 years no. Etimi cause Ghana. Yetimi wi Ghana. 548 million Ghana cedis. Na no ma bibia na ono. Gwono so kwa corporate council of state. Unsa Ashanti region nipa minu na omuti. Yeah. Obaba could be non MPP ni. No so corporate council of state. On so kan crofo afide na yi omo no. Omo ma wies Canada no. Ono ni sika wa wi a wadi a enquire about $5 million. Na no kwa koye plea bargaining. Attorney General say wonsum. internet twentwene nkom to no nko an sika twene nkom over 50 million
what's my ben
wo dia your check wo benya din no Ashanti region oba besia ba kuno ne saa ohene no a ono so nyina MPP for no mkwa kopre later no withdraw ye o kan krofo a national service sika no mawia no ka hu bi
la bianca suka ho but la bianca de so ye
ono nko $5 million over in Ghana and forest exchange rate now $5 million, which is 50 million, and a try on Kwanukum to obey via Ghana Sika outside the Couple Council of States. All of them. Me so a play or play again, Yampany. You beg you sick or said them. But me, I said, oh, vision. Vision for what? In opposition. But me, I say, me, Mahama Abe president. Ako position as president or no Bawumia wait my president. You see, Bawumia mistake was always wanted to Mahama. Mahama was a president. Mahama was a vice president. From vice president, he became president.
Before he became another.
Before he became opposition leader and another president. Who from vice president straight to opposition.
Calculation in fact.
In fact, Mahama was president. Who you've never be a president. When you're president, so da. Na sanya kanwa Mahama experience or war. Mahama has been assembly member. Bawumia classmate, class prefect cry election kwa contest bida. Mahama ba ye MP. Mahama aye deputy minister. Mahama aye minister. Mahama aye vice president. Why president aye former president as president. Who don't to Mahama? The Mahama baye Mahama no ankasa track record.
Caretaker president.
Se Mahama be president for 4 years and obedi nsɛmfo said the only Akufo de bedi 8 years ah. Ka me se ka Ghana fo etwa Mahama su.
Na ka Ghana fo be Mahama.
It took Ghanaians 8 years to realize that no. Mahama ni papa bi onumu. Mahama be president for 4 years. Wo ye mpuntujuma across the country. MMP before na afero munya bibia anka so am kan say nye mpuntujuma na ebedi. Nye quota ni ebewe enye interchange ni bedi because when me say Mahama build hospitals across the country, market across the country, schools across the country, roads across the country. Afedi MPP ni biaka so kan say enye mpuntujuma ni bedi ada ye nyesika we kutokum na ye de to abatia Mahama 8 years after Ghana for realized no ya yam from so no masa kofa Mahama aba no omo fa Mahama e man vote difference over almost 2 million. Because it took Ghanaians 8 years to realize. Whoa, Bawumia, just 6 months. Ghana 4 are looking for opportunity to even vote against MPP today. Ghana 4 ni be na almost voters ID cash ombotom. Almost choice electoral commission organizing emergency election only for them to vote against a MPP again. Now global info analytics ayo a poll on the buy. MPP vote to class are reduce. Mahama approval rate is over 70%. What about to Mahama? What's what been winning Sikasem? Sikasem come for. Yeah, the inflation now 15.4. What made the inflation every 15.4? Equia could do 54%. Trouble to. Who free abam krana what's what they are buy and crown? Then I'm 25% now die. From 15%. Yeah, the exchange rate now. You can do other propaganda with the economy, but when the fundamentals are weak, exchange rate will expose you. Exchange rate 4.2. What the Koya could do 17 Ghana cedis.
20. Maybe.
Who the Frabam Kwa Wujan crack the economy? None 16, 17 Ghana cedis.
Why? It do 20. Oh, yes, it's hard.
Yeah, man, debt to GDP.
Yes.
Debt to GDP. Who inherited debt to GDP? Seth Terkpe better is here no 57% according to Ken Agyapong CNDC debt to GDP 56%. But I am fat Seth Terkpe
56 point something.
And to them fat Seth Terkpe because Seth Terkpe was the last finance minister. 57%. What it means in say a can NDC buy there 120.2 no. Ye ton Ghana Japadian Ghana na nyina ye do how about paying 56 or 57% betua 43 and 44%. Ebeka me ada hwe ho. Wo Bawumia na say na also what rich ideas no. What to me the debt to GDP ekokodu 104%. what it means say ya toy Japan nyina kura wie ton ga na nyina ton born generation kura yes I the cap 4%.
You say me sam boam kakra.
And na wo so idea. Wo so vision. Ah wo the vision ba be de ba bo Ghana. Mama any Seth Terkpe economy nim ja na ye B. Ye rating B. Wo be far from B and the bedu junk status baller economy and na wo ja wo so idea. Ah wo de ba be ye den. Mama economy nim ja wo because na ratings ni ye. Na confidence ni high. And to buy and within 3 months and now call 10 printing I call you 2.25 billion euro bond. Every quarter na can ofurata could raise bond. What to be raise bond na fe kra there. Okwa and so talk. Now they are done Kenke party. And the economy about me ujaye 8 years ahead of economic management team. We cannot go to euro bond. And then young team in international market to compare bosia bia. And to Ghana buy per bosia. You say I'm kind of saying treasure bill locally and you generate young team because of the economy you left. What kind of ideas? First time in the history after a champion. Young TB da se Ghana de kana ban se mintua. Who Bawumia kilantua. Bawumia the real kilantua.
Kilantua na
yeah, kilantua no Bawumia is the real kilantua. What's the tua? What Jemerwa for pensioner for sika omu usimintua. Papa Samuel Jakum na ni papa ekosi ya Kama pharmaceuticals group of company. Who the papa ika papa pebia to aduro kilantua Bawumia se mintua. Emerwa for at wichem at Ministry of Finance pekete. Ewia kete bamu Bawumia kilantua wasimintua.
Mo musika.
Emerwa for nam nsuomu esu. Over 200 of our pensioners and who ye out of because of DDP akofa de baye. Omo ka manu asem nyina susu bi omesubia kilantua Bawumia wusi wuntua ampanampa wantua.
Some for 2 minutes right here.
Bawumia hu se Emerwa for no. Enenye omu nyina ne we kakraka. Ento se pe kwana ba finish omo. Ese akwa bi o chi ka na o de ka ko no nipam. Ama nipa bibire wu ne achi ko police station e bi san se aden. Oso me drive no. Ena me hu se nipa mienu omu twam ena na me break ate ena me nsa nifa so no nipa gu ho bebre na obusan so senka wa beru so se me ni bekum nipa bebre senka no bekum nipa me say yes me boba akono na ba kudwa no ko share crowd no mu ena me de to an wo ho that's the Bawumia mentality wakokum mienu na kum nipa duro nyina ka ho wo hu se mere wafo ne kwakrafo no ma wu because of domestic death exchange no akakakra we akiri enti e manem na no be finish o mo kwata Ken ofurata enim so obegu nkrofo banks ebegu na mo adwuma na obegye mere wafo ne kwakrafo sika ma wu nti no ana sa ma na adwuma ko enterprise o mo ko bie eyesa a funeral home na wo kwan so mo friend senkra funeral homes na wo hacho ho no transition enti onu a ogu adwuma na pressure foul
Same also when could be
only say enterprise insurance there
can offer funeral homes in India
enterprise there
transition unim
enterprise can offer company
enterprise wo largest share
omo dia can offer ninsa wo yes enti ogu adwuma wo block usika onu se skani so de onya yin sika free nsem se para dwenje be kosoro
yes sika
na adwenje kwatwa ne pressure be kosoro
yes sika nyina
pressure kosoro bewu wo ya kero frata simini transition
na ya ma
dara minya wayi aye contractor na wasaje
je se washesha
kosi se wo bewu yes wo do adaka ato wo adaka wo mfaso baby abusi afro bebo yo si da bi mo mra ha ya mo yi power ha mo metena se so mo ni bosia kra na mo ni ska membo bosia.
Yeah.
That is the economy MPP left. Na Ken Agyapong say, you on crophobia. Almost all more ideas, yet they are poor. And your crophobia or more ideas no more put into practice. Ama ideas na create opportunities, are creating work. Was it the Ghana here? A doers. And not political suit or munya no makasakasa.
Yeah. What be second Agyapong credit or may so 40 him something. But who the why vice president?
Enti Bawumia, a global info analytics for report of that batch say Bawumia still stand tall. MPP na NDC for be NDC for crap ba aye Ken Agyapong ma me ka se me kiro NDC for pe Bawumia is the weakest candidate.
NDC for Bawumia.
How can Bawumia campaign in 2028? When NDC ultimately reduce inflation, we did from 25 to 18
in
6 months. How can Bawumia campaign in 2028? When NDC ultimately stabilizes the city from 16, 17 Ghana cedis to 10 Ghana cedis, how can Bawumia campaign? NDC ultimately for petrol, 18 Ghana cedis per liter. Amen, and I'm 10 Ghana cedis in 11 cities. How can MPP campaign? How can Bawumia campaign? After leaving economy, junk status, not less than 6 months, NDC are peke from junk status to B. Who better campaign? And the Bawumia and NDC pay. Because Ken Agyapong will be crying. I feel no bad to be any. Obey my caso media. I ban back from my new position. Be a na menka cabinet home. And it economy manager corner me the business. If you are Ghana phobia, my general form, a bejetum. Now, Bawumia, let him come.
Very well. See, Bawumia, what can come?
Mesre kwa na yakoto aso akire ho enti ebehia ti alaji tam na kanyina medim tam nyina ma
me chetiefo me chia menia
wonti me nkɔhyɛ enu kyerɛ wo ntade ne papa ne den design
keche clothing
abramo no bisi
odi be ko ho
na ene kyerɛ wo mede mate
odi be ko ho woni ha
keche clothing me chia wate
kache ya ba
wo kyerɛ wo me pa kyɛw
ya nam kwa so
bo consider obi kura ebi alaji bawo
unipa boni ni say ura ba mi ase
nana na miti appointing miti former finance minister o share every time na o ye finance minister up to time of free abaimu utimi hu nema no omo hihye the economy was something to write home about NPP ba abaimu omo hyase omo maye nyina ehu se nia NPP nia NDC na omo ye eya dia na eha oman Ghana na omo ni the alternative political party ombetumi ACC ne mayi mayen na wohwe omohihye ya omudi baye after NDC in 2016 obia na oti asisa time and up till date no wetime ehu clear difference and clear manifestation of the fact say near NDC eye near MPP eye the margins that NDC got in 2024 nobody will tell you say the economy that was manned or managed by NPP was something that nipa bia na oti Ghana we a foreigner and a Ghanaian and we a where na enso ye ni enuntina ye mo sa defeating humiliating defeat more than 2 million unprecedented difference there NPP anybody leading NPP should have it in mind say enye you will not just get it easy you will need to work and work extra to the extent that people or the good people of this country would take you serious. And in economies, what determines the living or factors that determine the living conditions of every Ghanaian will tell you that one, job security or employment. Yeah, they are one of the factors that influences, living standard. Then economic stability. Enhance the living conditions of its citizens, and then that's all of this will emanate from what's good governance, and then also would enhance productivity. Now, we share access to healthcare. Enhance, the living standard of every Ghanaian. We also share access to education, and then crime rates. Reduced or bearable crime rate and enhance the living conditions of every Ghanaian. Now, we shall see how the NPP in 2016, NDC in 2016, the rate of employment na omujaye me knew, if you recall, now you're 14%. And I do 14% crack. So you juxtapose the fact that NDC, or NPP campaigned heavily on unemployment.
I think 14.7 or something.
Now, NDC, yeah. So NDC was seen as a political party that has no social interventions, that has no ideas as far as the economic activities of this country is concerned. So NPP made us to believe that the political party called NPP was the only alternative. They have all the solutions for the issues of this country. So we all were scammed. I use these words to believe in saying Nanado was the Messiah of our time. So therefore, let's give him that opportunity so that he can come and exhibit the economic experiences that he touted. Now, the introduction of his vice president and the rest of the management team, the solid management messiahs, the solid management team are now representative for this country. That would tell you that, look, in this country, yes, we have the brains, we could have the brains, but the good heart for this country, in their minds, in their hearts, anyhow. The people who would fight for Mother Ghana to get to the promised land, Duduona are self-centered and selfish individuals. TTO, the NPP members. We share the living conditions of Ghanaians in 2016 and the living conditions of Ghanaians in 20...
Okay, he's not asking for employment, he's asking for unemployment rate.
Yes.
So I think it's 14% under NPP.
Yes, I think so. Because
now I have my 8.7%.
Good. Yes. So that was.
I think 14% under MPP.
And the MPP.
Yeah.
What they say. So you're looking at the conditions of NDC in NDC regime in 2016 and conditions of NPP after 2024. You will understand the clear difference, irrespective of the the promises made. Now, before Ansana, you and I would consider that my living conditions or standard is comparable to any other, citizens across the globe. It depends on how much your salary and how much you can, go to the market and come home so that you can make, and the propensity to save. A lot of people consider, because if at the end of the day, one minute juma and I can get the work at any given time, juma now no katuyano at the end of the day is hand to mouth. That would not be seen as what a stable living conditions. Which at the time when NPP was campaigning, now your campaign no more campaigning big in the area of unemployment, to the extent that at the time your Graduate Unemployed Association masinated by NPP. Okay, no more NPP na osho musi.
Make our president bless.
What you say? Good. Na omu influence sa associations.
NPP we na eguye.
Na these are political, plans and over to me strategies over to me a winning power. But they tell you that the Gomba man will tell you that if you use a morning dew to build a house, very good. The rain that comes, the real rain that comes would collapse it. So this is what happens. So which one throw any tumia, won't mean throw and continue. And so this is what we saw. The unemployment rate inherited from 8.5 or 8.9, and then you live in power at 14.7. Monumentally, no, you cannot say me buy no be even though the amount of money they spent and I almost say in the area of NAPCO. And if indeed say OSP want to really do his work, the course names NSS NAPCO course names are na NAPCO. Na Bawumia the day are not launchy NAPCO at Independence Square. Bawumia was mentioning in an excess of 900,000. Abra na omundru even 9,000.
You're talking of 90,000.
90,000, right? Yes, sorry, no 90,000.
100,000.
There be name do 100,000.
No,
even
I'm saying that they made us to believe.
To believe, yes.
So he was making
90,000
of 90,000
in essence, not 900. But at the end of the day, if say wuko ho detailed forensic auditor, nobody will tell you say na ghost names can. And at the end of the day, they wasted the resources of this.
Unfortunately,
country.
we have 5 minutes to wrap up.
Oh, why?
Only 5 minutes. I'm sorry. My goodness. Interviews will have more country in them so that it forms part of it.
Okay, so Chair, this current NDC has come to prove to us Niana NPP na say na they didn't know the real situations of the economy. Look at the stable nature of the economy from January till date, 6 months, and look at how the CD has gained power. Look at how the inflation has dropped from 25 to 18 within 6 months. At the end of the day, manage the economy. There was no interest for that matter, considering the economic hardship. DFM, at the end of the day, even the working class complaining just because of the dollar to CD differentials. Whatever happens, even to the extent say the fuel at the end of the day now around 17, 15 and thereabout. So look at what we are benefiting from. Good governance. Look at what is happening today. The dollar is struggling to gain 8 feet. The CD is rising, gaining grounds every day. For that matter, we share how to fuel. Even today, I bought fuel less than 11 cedis. This is what Ghanaians would always wish for.
You bought fuel less than 12 cedis.
Less than 11 cedis. Today,
are you serious?
I'm telling you, yes, it's 10.8.
We talking for 10 cedis.
I'm saying 10 Star Oil is selling at 10.8. I bought fuel today.
Like seriously?
I'm telling you, today the bank rates 10 cedis. Bank is selling $4.4 at 10.45.
Wow.
I'm telling you, yes. So to that extent,
because at least 11 cedis.
Yes, to that extent, you would have the trust and then confidence in this government that foreign investors can come in to invest. Obia or Obia or exporting and importing will tell you, say, look, this is the right time to do investment in Ghana. This is the right time to do business in Ghana. And for that matter, anybody under NPP and under NDC will tell you that we have people who have this country at heart. Ghana. Who would take Ghana to a level where every Ghanaian would say Alhamdulillah because of the interest they have in this country.
It was a Friday, and a couple of his guys on Maslow Kano.
Yes.
But Shebose Ochina,
in fact,
Jebe Listi, Kanama, yes,
document no man farmer. But now can also try bedding.
Jebe Listi individuals are.
Yes,
Omako.
Okay.
Maslok Akwajilum. Yamo Moka.
Pesagana Boka.
Muntia. Edabua or Ghana.
That's right.
Research agenda no as professional journalist.
More fire.
And na Dabua.
More fire.
Ama wa odikibia.
Kwame, near Yame say. When you say ye no, you become say Maslok anya monetary allocation bia.
Yeah.
Sika Maslok radibetua who can adding. It's there's a Maslok here recoveries.
Yes.
Kwame, exit me bua Maslok.
Ekabia.
Exit me bua. Now, listen about Montino.
Listen about. For iPhone, brother. List about.
Ambassadors now, commissioners, consulate general.
Now,
authentic one.
Authentic.
It's one more.
Omoko.
Back when me who na many Japan.
Wine.
Oh, so one South Africa.
Benjamin Kwashi. South Africa.
Fantastic man.
But I think South Africa, he deserves it.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Because Obi South Africa.
Companies.
Benjamin
Kwashi deserves it.
Every day, Biano. ofiri South Africa e Ghana said the ofiri e Kokumase.
Yeah.
Ofiri Accra Kokumase.
Almost every week biya.
Yes, almost every week biya no. Oba ebe campaign, then from there now I go back.
And a campaign so ye juma.
So Benjamin Kwashi for South Africa the senior, I think say he really deserves it.
Okay.
And why you juma?
Eti Melacho, Monsun joining in Facebook, yeah, the list no.
Yeah, the list
now. Mo mo here on CTV there. This year, that was this year.
Yes.
Ana Kwame.
So ana why?
Me boss back Kojo Bonsu.
Kojo Bonsu.
Say ye to aba no.
Yeah, me kai.
Ana ye call honorable Bevulati Freying. Enti ikodi nkomo bi etri say on the be kwa me hu Kojo.
Yes.
Ana na me yam hye no. I say na me ka je ne say see you be winning elections we. Now you win elections now or only first person my friend.
Yes.
And honorable Kojo Bonsu what say you win elections no.
O friend.
Me say osana
na say you host no CTV.
Yeah host no. Osana na aka ne no kre Kojo Bonsu aye adwuma.
Nti Kojo Bonsu e ko China.
Nti so ko China.
Nti Kojo Bonsu e ko China.
O ko China. Na ye dane ho ba ye bese abedi nkomo wo China.
China hono ma. And say na me look say onai ba kusi China dada. Because onai no ba kusi South Africa.
Ena ba kusi say Edrago.
Ena ba kusi China. Hey, sina why ye? O why ye?
O kama na yehwam. Wo be ho bia pani bia ye so be ma miska no wajai.
Onai ba kusi South Africa dada. Because uni Benjamin Kwashi die.
Kwame. Yani Benjamin Kwashi.
Yani Kwashi die.
En kase woni.
Some me as professional journalist, I don't take political appointments.
Me na me professional nyame njira. Yani Benjamin Kwashi die. Eti ono so ko.
Ono so ko na why you?
Afei me sweetheart back.
Why?
Oh, ono kra dem say me friend 1 week.
Why?
Kasum scenario.
Why?
Oh, honorable Bafu Eyire no, actress no, veteran actress no, Kasum scenario.
Oh, okay.
Uncle Spain.
Spain, really?
Yes.
Kasum
scenario.
Do you movie no?
Yeah, movie no.
Nancy me say yes, I'm short we escape to be.
So do make kwa benya programs here nyina Kasum scenario was there.
I see. Inti jama for kase na omu hunu NBC program
Kasum scenario there anyone but
okay,
Kasum scenario there me defending any time. And Kasum scenario now no start you.
Yes, I see.
From 2012 krani hu Kasum scenario.
Okay.
One Kasum.
I'm working.
Kasum scenario deserves it.
And the social media
just to say there are some lists to be on her Kwame. One say I'm my first listen.
But now clear say the amount for can say and NBC program
has been working
and
this elections or your
campaign national campaign who know and who's all campaign and correct say na no tu na eka
will be obeka say when who Kasum scenario no and your no say when pianko campaign am a party no.
Okay, I see.
And men dwene say baby o fire campaign ho no be befa 16 regions.
Yes, no.
And I can attest to the fact say
yes.
Young kura domi kwa benya de almost all the times Kasum scenario was there.
Okay. Madam me more than me huno.
Yeah, lunch campaign.
Yes.
Owura say don't keep yakra waters. Me na me MC.
Okay.
Time me lunch do me kwa benya.
I know.
Yes, Kasum scenario was there. Only my sister cry na buy.
Okay, I see.
It's a Juma Kasum scenario I know she deserves it.
Okay.
Me who fair. Okay. Going to me the investors are back
from China from Spain. From Spain, yeah, I see.
My man teacher crack in Spanish.
I see.
Yeah.
And I like say okra diplomatic okra or yeah we or kimpa or yeah diplomacy on can say.
One course school grant today. Mo dem paper. Omo course school this over ba me na dey kusi say. Mo me ma dwene nya adwuma kojobo to so course school enso bo ankroma. See, so be intelligence Kwame. Me pay school assembly, but I don't fancy school.
So Nana, she deserves it.
She deserves it.
Yeah, per what?
We need degree, no better me the investors. That is what we want.
Yeah, per the way who know.
She deserves it.
And Argentina, all the movie actors need man and movie for no make Spain power.
Say NDC creatives for NDC. Oh.
And I feel the movie Spain power.
Me a professional journalist.
No, movie Spain.
Yeah, you know nebeko.
Movie ko Spain. Me ati movie. Me try my yama journalist dibi we ambassador Robi. Am me so no to me na see yo.
Nti John next badge no how are you?
Say aka see na only aka USA.
USA my you.
USA my.
UK my. South Korea my.
South Korea my.
Japan.
UK so my.
UK my. Germany aba won.
Germany aba.
Canada so aba.
But Togo abo.
Ose.
Togo aba.
Why no Togo?
Togo hwem.
Okay, Togo ha. Honorable Captain Joe. Okay, Infojo.
Yeah. Do you know him?
I don't know him personally, yes, but he has worked for the party.
Sure.
Those kind of kids, you know.
Yeah.
Into Captain, Togo, Captain, you're okay. But come in. Dubai, no. Mahmoud Marabi. Okay, maybe I mentioned that. But I'm sure
I think so, yeah.
President in India.
Yes.
Now
me say namwali.
Oh,
say namwali.
So na CTV.
Ye na say namwali. Iti namwali. So your future ya oti ha ya.
Tie kwan, ono
ko Brazil.
When you be ko Brazil kwa.
Yeah, ko Brazil.
Nti say namwali ye ko Brazil.
Brazil no ye be you see now what we have to do as quick as possible they say. Unze hustle there omudua ahwede so I think say we need to yemfa yin ko ho no
ekwam omu beaches here one of the finest ha enema mienu e for Brazil e beaches ne omayi
na senior and another
Messi enema mienu
ne bema kagum from any
bema
kasa
enema mienu ne
ko wonso bia
ni sro bia enema mienu ne for Brazil
omu beach
ne yi no
anyone eno mo den
beach no
do se men kan omu ma no
oh kwame
ena wo se maka
kwame Brazil ma ho ye fe
yes
I mean Brazil ma ho ye fe
yes
Brazil ma ho ye fe
yes na wan biom mihu na wana eko India no
India what they saying
India Professor Kwesi
Obridanso
yeah Obridanso
sir prof no can a committee no no can manifesto committee no
o don't come
I think say prof not prof
no come
but you see Kwam John Dramani Mahama wa unim de his excellency
so USA my
they say USA my and Kwam there were some names be oha now I was thinking say they will make it for the first list and Kwam I don't know what you say but me can't wait because the movie ha yam pesa buy be feel
yes
enti sabani refi bibia ye kan no but ye ka say kura say in the pipeline
yes me sure
name bit say Alhaji Sinari
mamenka obodin mamenka Alhaji Sinari
yes man see din
Hana Alhaji Sinari betina
yes
proud to election
okay
and Alhaji Sinari ka say I have the tape
okay
your video no
okay
say all the Zongo communities in Ghana win election no
yes
on my certain percentage but
yeah.
I've make sure na ya bought that so obiti say Alhaji Sinari out here the future
yeah the Alhaji Sinari but I want to believe say we say we're just shortlist keke
but you say we Saudi Arabia obi ko hono man
obi ko in Dubai
no Saudi Arabia obi wo hono
obi wo Saudi Arabia
obi wo one Rashid
Kwame Saudi Arabia ni here
oh Saudi Arabia oh
and I will create different list.
United with
and different
Arab.
Dubai.
Yeah.
Obi any Saudi Arabia.
Obi any Saudi Arabia.
It is Saudi Arabia.
Egypt so obi aso nko.
Yes, obi aso nko.
Yeah, inti between
Egypt
between Egypt and Saudi Arabia. Yes. Oh, yeah, no, we are doing professional.
So between Egypt and Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
A large scenario boom.
Boom, of course.
More fire.
Go pe the intel I
picking as undercover journalist.
Yes. Say me new way because Obia Otimika say. Satan I am too abano.
Yeah.
Let me see say meet me na take na.
Yeah, papa ba could be. You rent me fino. Man me usadi aba. Was it onti Horace Ankredi?
Horace. Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. Mama tell me true.
Obi to say you Horace Ankredi.
But before I call Horace no, yen clear Alhaji Sinari there no.
Yeah.
Say yeah, sure say the second batch of the list no.
Alhaji Sinari will be part.
Yeah, but Egypt, Saudi Arabia and because you bano Ghana ha. Obia omo munim de. Aye edi ambassador.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia oka Alhaji Sinari onim that terrain the ekoko kanya na
onimu pa
utimi nyini film so nti hono de
David se mekopa o si yemfa bubi nko Burkina
awano no ayi delete do cat asem
ba
honto aba say onu honto be sha chena
But Burkina Faso mu, but you see, I'm saying no hun to be kono. Are you surprised say first list no? Former ambassador to China.
To China.
Horace ni Ankara.
Ankara.
It didn't first list no.
Oh, so
and there were people who were I'm sorry. There were people who were tipping him for even China.
China, yeah, because he's the
former ambassador.
To
China. Yes.
How to bring investors from China to Ghana.
There were a lot of investors who don't buy you.
Yes.
Horace Ankara.
And I think if I stand to be corrected, he's the only we are called Oma China for DCD.
Yeah. He's the only ambassador.
Yeah, because I stand to because I may be wrong. But you can correct me if I'm so.
Oh, you're wrong. I'm correct. You're correct. Come. The only ambassadher who initiative Ghana city relevant.
China. Now I'm hearing say you say almost all the billboards are JM giant ones.
Yeah.
Yes or no? I don't know if it's true.
Okay, so the point is that there were major billboards, political honorable there were major political billboards. Horace Ankara didn't bottom second.
Oh, really?
True. In support of John Dramani Mahama, in support of the I was a bit shocked.
Okay.
But you see, John Dramani Mahama
yeah. Yeah.
John Dramani Mahama knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Second list bar. Don't be surprised that names like Horace Ankara BPM, Alhaji Sinari,
Samu Hunto,
Sami Bakwe.
No, Sami. Obi awa ni masters in so we
no Obakwe. Obakwe.
Sami
na obi a yede ko say yenya ite. Eti ye de Sami Bakwe.
Can't you be no more agriculture pa. Mu say Sami ni ji kware ejuma. Yeah.
American ka so mo farming.
But
another person Nadine Victor Smith, Ambassador Victor Smith.
Yes. Yeah. But I know Seth Victor Smith, the second band, because last time Michelle and Timuni and yes,
fantastic man.
Yes, on day.
Brazil forms here farming.
Yes,
Brazil.
I am fat deputy ambassador. But I think they won't talk.
Nana Kufa time some for deputy ambassadors.
I think they won't talk Brazil and your
ideally, I'm far about Nana.
And we can create.
Yamfa huntonko is Italy fonts with tomatoes do
yeah. See now, and I am for Italy.
Italy my.
Oh,
France my.
Hunto.
UK my. And I'm here for Kusi na. Ambassador to Sesuku. Be set ideas now one.
Benny.
The Benny and Keduba travel for Benny.
No Benny then
Benny.
Benny then bro.
I remember Benny about Casimir yourself.
Benny then Benny for Fanchame. But
Okojedru. Oh, by Jedru.
Benny.
Benny.
Omo American kwede.
Because also they yes omo we no omo efe pa.
Omo American
omo dem no mo efe.
Dem say
the investors e bagana.
Na Benny the investor no.
Ejem na mekan una aka.
Bisagana youth no a omo so ma ye
Benny no mkwe o.
Benny mkwe.
Business partners in fan.
Unto
we na free sese kono.
Omo business partners.
You to no better wa you. So what chums omo business partners every Benny.
These are all the cancer hustlers.
Let me ask a question. But omo am Facebook. The America any Benin si wa mo be kwan ba chom famra.
Hunto so pe Benin.
Kwam ye ne hunto eti owura Horace Ankara any Alhaji Sinari.
Yes.
Owura Victor Smith.
Yeah.
Anya ni nya Victor Smith.
Oh no, yeah,
Victor Smith.
Yeah.
And oh you bra ya radin fa ni currency Sampiali nka. Oh dem kura.
Benia. Ya ka eve ewo ho.
Oh, okay.
Togo.
Am ka eve.
Ewo ho.
Yeah.
Promoting business.
Easier.
Easier.
Okay.
Ghana ye connected Togo, Benin to Volta region. As far as Ghana is concerned, promoting business easier.
Okay.
Can't say
my main friend
Ghana for I war America does in Ghana.
Don't worry, my main friend Dr. Callistus.
Yes,
me Benin.
But say me no ka say jubilee as it
my friend Dr. Callistus is
here. Yes, omutie. Na said omuto aka Benin de e fata no.
Oh, doc onfa.
But omutie.
Enti ye be so Benin dey anyhow ye be prepare letter no.
But let be on record. Honorable Horace Ankara, he wasn't Ghana ambassador to China.
Oh, okay.
He was a deputy
ambassador.
Anyway, no, it was a me the right name on you see.
Okay.
Deputy head of mission.
Oh, okay.
Deputy head of mission. He wasn't a ambassador to China.
You engaging with Hanum names of consent.
Okay, sure.
Okay, maybe as a later.
Yeah, later not be an ambassador to China.
No. So the deputy.
Yeah, because we have engaged him here several times with that designation.
Okay.
Because maybe kind Abraham 2016 to Munti FM. Sabrina me no story. Na ya address no as ambassador.
Okay.
A pajama no ankasa free chire mu so onya ambassador
okay.
Deputy.
If you are certain no a deputy.
Yeah, so
okay. Sure, Ntina,
very well.
Seth Terkpe, I think by 5 minutes now we do. Ntina, me ko but
me ko me yet enu free ho na papa nya enough time because then will be a conversation no.
But
what will break leader?
No, Jacob break. But mami can we? I think over the weekend presidency day man Lodina the official Facebook ne official social media handle betuja. Me we say man for kasa bebre basabi.
Okay.
Na like mami 30 seconds to respond to them.
Okay.
Because
Ejumani fan the personal response.
Yes. Say mami a odimu.
Okay.
No fata.
Yes.
Na ya create social media the Facebook and Instagram and
when they create here
what's one they create here
man
no say we the official Facebook remember or call ofia kwa no ne bia na oye o manager pade what you say the first lady na me ti say no mo kika cancer pass bi hospitals o sisi here ne adoye ne ma obo mo
okay
na manfo a ono ankasa ndi ni sika ebom
okay
na Facebook keke amanfo ka wasem
when they create Facebook no
me say presidency no
e create
Facebook na so say ne official Facebook account
when ka say
oh no they posted it enye so mo kasa they posted uko be so go mo kike kani na
so ni nti ameka sa mo bia mfa ne nkeka wa ho me kama melody na mahama even those at the presidency ti kwame na make am even those at the presidency ma amenity ne baby no un say some time back afia ba so no na what positions orefi ba say ma melody na afi e me wa ma mi on chair positions
onye hwe
ma mi onye party chairman ma mi council of elders won ka ho functional executive committee won ka ho national executive committee on can affairs so no teacher. The point I'm making quite briefly is say any maybe I'm sorry but it's important.
Yeah, important.
It must not take presidency to create Facebook for our mother. Let our mother create her own Facebook. Yes. And I did gender because you see the laws of our country, hold on sir. The laws of our country any legal room for a first lady. E patriote say Ghana mrano any legal room for a first lady. And nothing a big crack some time back sank ye first ladies to ya. But Lodina Mahama Nankasano, what the nation one will pay.
Oh no, in
your position to function. Yes. Whether Lodina is a first lady or a second lady.
When I say president in a creative Facebook Hamalodina.
I don't understand
who is saying that.
Oh no. It's on way.
Because if it is so, yeah, they should not be.
Yeah, never.
Mamo, be critique. Mama na be any foundation.
Lodina Foundation. Lodina Foundation.
Oh, when I did that.
That's
what I'm saying. Mama, bravo.
Or on the page. Lodina Foundation on the page. Or more money, no money. Opa, just log on Lodina Foundation. I say Lodina. Go there, you see.
And I come say fake account.
And he said no be a create Lodina Foundation. A year page. President.
A
new official page
from way.
Now you
say where official page where a new one. Me TM 2 pages. Me want to TVGH and I'm some that doesn't mean say state in a creative. Now
some impression on a best creative.
Who create here?
Yeah, the state they create.
Yeah, creating Facebook page.
Oh here state.
Oh here state and also here place.
Now we cross state to the who Jima then Facebook will be able to be creating Facebook.
Forget them. Is it and some people want more. They be as who the MPP for each year. We are just about responding to MPP. You give them the opportunity or more pay because always MPP want to be in the news. They don't care whether for a good reason or bad reason. So long as a MPP, no, they are okay about it. Because don't person say they want to take Ghanaians' attention from the good things that happen under this government. They want to take away the attention. National Petroleum Authority boss, Honorable Edudzi Tamakulu, just say the midst of Ukraine, Russia war, Israel, Iran war, and America kwadom ho agimu ni nyina echi no. Ghana ye wo fuel reserve for 2 months. I mean kwatena makunya so.
For 2 months anka ordinarily.
Yeah.
Enkrofo bi anka.
Bosumi mienu. Ye wo fango a ibetimi ayusu. And no good news also Ghana for United. But MPP doesn't want Ghanaians to know this. Minister of Education and more revise knows to make sure say National Food Buffer Stock take supply of food at the Ama secondary school said the better quality and quantity of food the mom of friend bit me improve. NPP doesn't want Ghanaians to hear this. So they want to be in the news. Nana, ask yourself. Mahama any NDC Lusu election 2016, MPP take over 2017. At a point, Kurana NDC communicators and Kurana if you so in Accra, Free Ghana. We don't even hear NDC communicators sitting on radio debating on whatever. The President Mahama himself, you never heard himself or can be criticizing the government. Sabrani Asane President Mahama. And the UN force and ha, force and ha, election observer no ko EV ye chi kwakwa yin do hokra na Mahama e international assignment to Ethiopia. And we try to better kwa yin do ho e will be ourselves. Mahama only started commenting on the economy after 2 years. Every NDC eco primaries, presidential primaries, and Mahama started commenting on it. Ichirema mo de man so saban bia ba we oppositioner you give that abino peace of mind to put things things in place. And then when Akufo-Addo was misbehaving, fooling left around, left and right, he never heard NDC. Within Akufo-Addo be president, within 1 year, 2 years, did he hear say NDC focus demonstration? No. But what do you see? Because the MPP wants to be in the media. Now you discuss what Montino. Mahama Baba Mwani even 2 months, then MPP called demonstration. Not even 2 months, not to talk about 3 months. The first 100 days in Mahama and na MPP a demonstration. Mahama need 2 months, na Bawumia shall say criticize the Mahama government. Mahama government in appointment to Kwawonye na MPP as a political party criticize government decisions and government governance at Ekoso. Because MPP wants to be in the news. And they say, what smartly, they may set the agenda for you. And to bones say, we are saying 4 years a day anyway, we may waste our time discussing MPP. And the more that's the one of the biggest mistakes NDC made in Abraham Bemo. The pro NDC media, including Munti FM, and on Babena, Dudu anytime BR is like we are discussing a Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo yade Akufo-Addo abon Akufo-Addo papa japade a watonton Akufo-Addo kasa wontie. We always discussing Akufo-Addo, discussing Akufo-Addo and no fetch Akufo-Addo sympathy. It got a point Ghana for other papa but never bem kwan why de bia mo boni triso and ye mfa 2 minute kra man ne hwedo nso betumi aye and e dey call 8 years Ghana 4G ani so we shouldn't be focused so much about the MPP. Who doesn't know Lodina Foundation in Ghana? Nana Matina account several times. Lodina Foundation will obtain a foundation and Sana Nikunu John Mahama Ebeye Vice President. What in the foundation be seen ne? The foundation or the Buenipa. Lodina Foundation konko si bibia wakase in partnership with government or in partnership with any private company. Say you making money, no. Boho samo Lodina Mahama sini boho ketwa Ghana. Se ban apprenticeship ma ekosua de e ban clinic polyclinic hospitals ahodo beds ahodo wache obi antimi nka ho asem e ban nsa no adwuma yenso amanfo asene
abom ko suasa na adwuma no obi antimi nka ho asem. In opposition, 8 years in opposition, Lordina Foundation was providing mechanized boreholes for communities free of charge. 8 years in opposition. Lordina Foundation AC a 10-key maternity ward. Miensa was the first one. Oh, ni krum bole. You can't say 10-key hospital and as a ward wa. Just say the key ni ma ubie key na ubie dan say ya bibia you ready. Baby a painful ko one betna ombetuma teto mapo mi wa bofa de number 2 everything bed everything
enye edan tontro
wa say kufu adoko commission agenda 111 a ye wi esa 2 mo so a commission Bank of Ghana and so na me no kase Bank of Ghana 24/7 adwuma fugu wa mo ye adwuma no enye no bio ye bibia wi o ye ni bibia wi enti da obi so commission na enkrofo da mpa so kra ye treaty wo mo.
That's right.
Was the first one oni kunukrom bole and obesi second one no ankasa ne krom nkranza and okosi third one ewa tebubu edia na obone atebubu
okay
and okosi ye thank you in opposition and we see sana because Lordina Foundation operate outside the government,
even in opposition
and when NDC co-opposition 8 years Lordina Foundation didn't need NDC or the government to operate. Can we say same about Rebecca Foundation? Rebecca Foundation 2017 after Seth Terkpe win election. 2020 election wa and Kevin Taylor. What do you expose by ya? Sika near wire from China. Edifa Lord Rebecca Foundation $600,000, $250,000. Now fear Kufad no catch said the wife will not be in charge of contract no. Na Rebecca and Nam China or G loans at the Ghana buying. I want Ghana buying Jumeni. They use that to to do fraudulent I can't say deals. Near Sendis Kakasi near the firm. Now I'm kind of be any man. Rebecca Foundation akwa see children's ward ewo Kolebu. Okwa National Health Insurance Scheme nya adwuma. Na now nim de ntia.
David.
Eye partnership and a private ownership. So it's not fully under Kolebu.
Okay.
Enti wono it's like yami enche anase work and pay. Eno modie. Na nko first lady ni senka wo dwen se bi ohiafo ne ma ofra ho but nya sa ene awria wa twi makeup atwetwetwe on friend Samira Bawumia na ni bra Samira Bawumia ni abressing Bawumia crop president
first lady na ne here
because Samira Bawumia as a second lady kra no wotimi gina no office di ni tumi ebu obi dan gui apartment Adam aye a few maku edumienu obunu nyina agu because on first second lady 2024 elections Samira Bawumia Mahama enam from your campaign
ne brand involved nana
ni nyina Samira Bawumia etimi no to play mu what say
and there's no proven.
The energy is not proven.
Meaning say in relation with Abu Ramadan.
You don't know what it. Samira Bawumia. Opa koko bisa nipa ni ebu na japa de gu ya no beka treo. 2024 election Samira Bawumia na oti asoja fo play mu. E na ode ko campaign e watakwa.
Aye.
Na Bawumia nkasa kra na fo Mahama na fom. Na Samira Bawumia ono no second lady. Bob no rank na ono no ti asoja fo play mu and de kwa campaign e watakwa.
In what capacity as what?
Samira Bawumia as a second lady or kwa the same stress o Kumasi akoteki ni measurement na or the private jet team presidential jet team na de no Kumasi
okwa den ya
okwa ni Taylor the same stress e kwa akoteki ni measurement na or the private jet team presidential jet na de no ko okwa iye o siremu a presidential jet na de no ko e kanko a e ka susuro no boy. Can you compare first ladies and NDC producer to a MPP?
Yes, it was a rehabilitative maternity ward we were tamale enough.
Adjumani the doors, you know, adjumani the you to me ka a cat or no a cat across
on any particular region or district. Maybe be any pen yam will be on the NDC my first lady. Nana Kurado Admiral Rollins.
Yes.
31st December movement. Eduma Modi ye. Oh yeah, Ghana for born a basso border. Oh, mammy, why are Dania Mishra or no? No fish and shiny in arches who beat my president. I know I feel also be president. Dina Ghana for see and Pell was a president. Yeah, Pell was a first lady. Into the YNY. And then they were retired from Ghana politics. And why is Nana Kurado missing in Ghana politics? NDC and MIA and Estina Nadu Mills. Mammy, want to know what's him?
That be open who say
Nick be president for almost 4 years, 3.5 years. Beyond to know what's him? Saka Kabin Sem, Apokroko Sem, Beyond TV.
Debbie.
Mama, MIA Lodina. From 2012.
That what jump you?
Why?
How free I know about
Mama, my Lodina. Okay. From 2012, Ebesina Meno Kasei. MPP has tried so hard. So be true mother at a Lodina. Enfa.
And tight.
Ejuma why ye diabwa Ghana my banners up Pumudine mo be anti compare. Can you say same about a year the late Kufo? Mammy Teresa, now Kupon Fanny Crazy. One also for Teresa Kufua. Yes, on one at a mess here no Mudina one skill. Among Pomoasem, Tomdo Mufi. Can you compare Rebecca Kufu to Lodina?
Rebecca.
Can you compare Rebecca Kufu to Lodina?
Comparison
6 months in opposition.
Yeah.
Do you hear anything from Rebecca Kufu?
Dabi. Retired.
And that Rebecca Kufu so ko break grounds or ko kate so no mercy sa eye kolebu children's word na make am asem no. Sa dan na Legon student. Extra crata so placard so. Edi ko gina che se aban MBA Legon Medical Center. Placard so. Rebecca Kufu mi eche ne ko shem. Sa wo kan? O me eche abrante ne ko shem.
Ogun animu ase.
Wan kate ye MBA Medical Center no. Ni amfa nkɔ no aduana na wacha na gobe o. Yamfa nsa yarefo. Na senka wo your bata na wo dwi nipa ho. Ena wo so ba besi children's ward. Ni nyina eden apomden. Already aban asi apomden ni bi asi wo no mo Ghana fo hia de agya yarehwe. Yatum ye mieye. Na eda na wo de soso kobo form no Ghana ni suani ehunu nyansa. Nyansa wo ehun. As the Bible say, what in sempa na hinte nyansa fo en wo ya atram kokoa. Babru no mom tro kan wa say munkonko bia o me achi ne kokoshe mu ya dia brand ne kokoshe mu for this and o say Ghana for kasatia ansa ne yi ni na pie enti nana they shouldn't go there just 6 months in opposition. Rebecca Foundation is nowhere to be found, and new market on the wall is dead. Aye Gigi Kodi Aye Gigi Kodi Savings and Loans ni bi aye Gigi Kodi Foundation.
Gigi Kodi
yes,
Foundation.
Rebecca Foundation Gigi Kodi Foundation.
Wow.
Anya sa ni kuno Akufo-Addo aye so per president edi no. It taking 40 years and so be president. Ne yere Rebecca wanti foundation da.
All of a sudden.
Akufo-Addo be a flag bearer man MPP 2008. From 2008 to 2016, 8 years. Rebecca Akufo wanti foundation bi ada.
Rebecca Amponen ko yi ene say ba me ayiri.
Oti foundation when Akufo-Addo became president. And the Gigi Kodi Foundation.
Oh, but better late than never.
Better late than what? Gigi Kodi Foundation. Gigi Kodi Foundation. And then now say MPP ko position ku amamoko na wi aba na wi ye. Nanso Lodina what take grant and Nikunu ba be vice president in fi nwotwe. Nikunu be president in Nikunu be vice president in fi 9. Nikunu be president first term 4 years. Now Lodina Foundation adwuma. Nikunu ko position 8 years Lodina Foundation adwuma. And then Nikunu aba power edaso adwuma. Can you say something about Rebecca?
Lodina ni size.
And to thank for let's no waste our time.
Okay, you waste your time.
On them.
Change gear no. Yes,
I feel my mencha a tea for near for an area. I don't waste in I say.
Sorry. Not me buy na me home for me.
Tell me who he to do me.
Toka say. Na me muya me ya.
And I say about that is a mere papa. Democracy. Na democracy no ade ba ko a ewo mu pa ne say. Any idiot can aspire to be president. Any idiot.
especially Africa and Ghana. The here is obeshe suit. The here is obeti makabrofo. The here is obenya sika kakra or the man central for asa becoming president in Africa is possible for any idiot. Not about track record. Before I because Santi Momo say honorable Seth Terkpe.
Honorable
Abba. But me can't Ghana for.
But Same, you know honorable we are back to you into member.
Yes. Honorable Dineda, honorable Pacho Betranse.
Honorable sit down.
Economics.
You looking great. Bra, for one
and sana you better discuss about me no. Me Ghana phone your phone na aya assignment. You better about nemum. Omonko back to the history. Now almost say MPP between 8 years in opposition between 2009 to 2016 8 years in opposition. Ejuma ben na Bawumia no ye. Countries ben na Bawumia ko so koye ejuma se oboa musika sem atumi ayeye. Ghana ni bia o yes search na wan hu obo Zimbabwe. 2 Gini exchange rate. 2 Gini inflation. 2 Gini economic figures. And about me jai and about me so ideas. Only ora set up when you have ideas now apart from a year 1 shilling 2 shilling ideas to buy mobile phone.
Oh, that's at least with me some toilets.
Maybe about iPhone and iPhone 16 about some say 75,000. 75,000. Vice president on the president Bawumia no also be president on the telecommunication be kona they shall open iPhone 16 75,000 more no na bosumi bia utua 132 cedi na fa calculator na divide 75,000 by 1 never how many years are they betua ne busanse telecommunication networks e wo Ghana even Ghana Telecom na kasa cry tie na ye dia na way company ben no no dey be free no atwen say tuade ne ka we have 75 years 20 years 100 years and the vice president Bawumia then no only serious no ka janga 1 shilling 2 shilling 1 shilling 2 shilling me wana me wa phone kwakrafo si kom de koto honom eye domestic debt waje what can I say can so obi ade ka untu aso de ade
kwa ideas
we dey ko ba ne ba be say idea no oni ona bo Seth Terkpe.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, yena aye yinua broadcast journalist Same Hunto ase. Ena inia ase. Na we part 1. Ye ne economics we are. Obesia ba part 2. Ye ka economics atiase. Yura Seth Terkpe no ofia. Na economy no onim te se ne nsechi. Nti se si a ye ya propound theory economics. And to where we see economics be an economic student. Very well. Bet me so joining in live on Accra 100.5 FM on Facebook. Na ye no wedding komo. Na ye be potok Accra. Esan inchiche mu. Iwia na ya makwa me kwa chat na se. What search ni nyine mu. That's what we're going to do. Honorable Seth Terkpe is a former Minister of Finance. So much great exploits when he became a minister. So many achievements, and I'm sure that he's not here to blow his own trumpet. But of course, we know the successes that he chalked as a former Minister of Finance. If for nothing at all, we remember where he left the exchange rate, 4 cedis to $1, or say 4 cedis 20 pesos to $1. The so-called economic messiah, the so-called economic wizard took over and galloped from 4 cedis to $1 to way beyond 17 Ghana cedis. So of course, if you do the extrapolation, the difference is that large. I'm talking about an astute politician who has so much grips on fiscal policy and monetary policy. He has so much understanding and experience in that area. Currently, he is a special advisor on economy to the first gentleman of the land, His Excellency, the President of Ghana. It will interest you to know that he's even coming up with a very insightful book, very inciting on that, on taxation. And I'm sure that as we discuss economy, we'll be veering into what may have, convince him to put up that book and the content thereof. But currently, we'll start off with some economy. Sir, you're welcome and good afternoon.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon or evening.
Yes.
To your listeners. It's been a while.
That's right.
Since I was here.
That's right. Like how many months ago?
I believe several months.
Several months.
Yeah. The last I remember was sometime last year.
You're one person that I have admired from afar.
Thank you very much.
Given the fact that you're more of an introvert, and yet your things are very extrovert. The things you do are bigger than the silence you keep. And so we want to say thank you for how far you brought the country and how you have served us. How do you see the state run currently?
I think that we really went into some difficult situation as a country going into the elections last year. And as I said, the whole bubble, best later we can talk about some of the indices or the numbers.
That's right.
I say. But the bubble best with the debt default, domestic debt, which is savings by Ghanaians themselves, in our domestic bond market, which we established, so that we can mobilize savings from those who want to put some money into long term, like pensioners and. Well, if you are 60 or 55, some retire at 55, some 60, but 65. Let's say that you have there for 10, 15 or 20 years to go. If you collect your lump sum, it's good to invest it somewhere, so that as and when you need, you earn interest. And the interest will cater for, food, will cater for little hospital attendance and things like that. But the principal amount will be there, and sometimes you add even the interest. For example, when you go to a bank and you say, I put my money in treasury bills, including interest. There's an expression which is used. It means that I don't have use of the interest now, so roll it over with interest. That's what I wanted to. So it means that the interest is added. So,
that's right.
So if you have sort of 110, 100, you earn interest 10, it becomes 110.
Yes.
The next time you come, if it's the interest, because it's 110, not 100, you earn more, maybe 12, you add it. So your interest itself increases, compounds. Yes. That was a situation that we established and left, behind, so that Ghanaians felt confident, to lend their money to government. Right. It started with 3 years under a former boss of Tedufo, then went up to 5 years by the time he was leaving office, and we did 7 years, and means that Ghanaians were having confidence in and trusting their money for a longer period with government, right? What does that mean? It means that if we are going to do a project like fixing gutters where we need cities, right? You don't, and it will take you, you borrow to do the project.
That's right.
And it will take you, let's say, 5 years.
Yeah, most of them are pre-financed.
Yes. So, yes, but that's what we're turning around. Yeah. It means that you can now come to your own Ghanaians who are willing for 5-7 years and borrow from them.
Sure.
After all, you can buy cement, labor and everything. Cities, you don't have to use foreign exchange import. So that's what it means to rely on your own domestic market. And that's the one that we're developing. And within 5 years, that market in government bonds. When we say market, we mean the stock exchange is a market. Because you can buy your bonds, and then I can sell my bonds and you buy them. Next time you put it there, somebody, if you are in need, you sell it, somebody will buy it. So instead of the trade being government to the Ghanaian, it's now between Ghanaians and Ghanaians through their banks.
That's right.
And that's how you expand. But where I wanted to land is, so if I need to do a project and I can repay in 5 years, let's say I need a project costing 500.
Yes.
And because I don't have 500 immediately from GRA, but I have 100 every year from GRA, I can ask Ghanaians to raise the 500 for me, do the project, But now go to the capital market, get the 500.
Yeah.
You know, that way the city doesn't come under pressure.
Sure.
You know, because you are using cities.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So this is a market that was destroyed. This is when we say haircut. This is what it means. It means those who are giving money to government, their own government, because they had confidence in the Mahama administration. You know, by the time the people was leaving, had lost that confidence to the extent because they couldn't pay. And then, to add, as they say, so to injury, you know, they were being asked to sacrifice 30%.
That's right.
You know, before the government could get that out of the hole, and that's a haircut. You know, so it means that if I give government 200, you know, let's say 210, then it means that divided by 3, I have to lose about 70, because then even the remainder of the balance, 14, it takes a long while. And some of the payments, you know, which they promised, we now have inherited and we have to pay. So that's one example of what has changed. Okay. The other example, 2 examples quickly, we can come to others during question time, but it's the way we expanded Galamsey without destroying forests and everything, and yet still did not develop, you know, a market. Right? The best example is we cut some trees to plant cocoa, right? But we brought the farmers together. They sold because individually they can sell outside. Okay. So we had cocoa board.
Yeah.
You see the analogy, cocoa board that would take since 1993, was able to borrow, that's a syndication, and then buy the crop from them, you know, sell, and then take a larger loan after they have sold, you know, to pay the loan so that they can provide, you know, the payments to farmers.
That's
you
right.
could see the same thing if we did it in an orderly way as we are doing now. Then the equivalent of your cocoa board is a gold board. You know, so where previously anybody could come from Turkey to buy anywhere to come and buy open market, you know, with smuggling because they won't even declare, so that they pay the right tax. Now we have an order. We have an orderly way of doing it. It's not perfect yet, but it's far better than what we had.
That's right.
And yet, why are people surprised that the reserves are going up?
So that's what we'll be coming to.
You see, so why should we be surprised that the reserves are going up? Because it's not every Ghanaian who wants to smuggle, but they are being forced to do that. You know, and the foreigners are coming want to take the risk, so they are selling to them.
So what would have taken foreign remittance out is now left in Ghana?
It's left
all
in
the
Ghana.
other remittances that
even
would have
if it
left
goes out, it's
country.
now going out in an orderly manner.
Okay.
Like cocoa goes out in an orderly manner through the produce buying, you know, agency and the rest. So it's that orderliness which is bringing in, you know, the money, and it's increasing the reserves, you know, that the balance in our foreign exchange account, right? And when you have, you know, more money in your account and you are able to, you are not under stress to provide money for imports, right? Because also maybe because we are in the rainy season and the rains have been good and the rest, why should anybody be surprised that the reserves are going up and say it's fantasy? No, it's planning.
Very practical.
Very practical. It's planning.
Yeah, your initial commentary, I think, explains the kind of economic quagmire that the former Akufo-Addo administration, you know, plunged that into. I think that the explanations that you gave kind of solidified that. Yes, that was domestic. That was domestic.
So what happened on the foreign side? We started borrowing the same way we were borrowing with during the Hippie era with His Excellency Kufuor. Kufuor's first bond.
Okay.
But we're paying only interest.
That was the Eurobond.
The Eurobond.
Okay.
We're paying only interest. So by 2013, you know, it's 2007 bond. So by 2013, you had 4 years
to
redeem the bond, because 2007 to 2017 is the 10 years, right? So we came to the realization that, wait a minute, if the NDC were to win the elections in 2017, right, it will have to cost 750 million. Yes. Because all you were paying was the interest.
The policy would have matured.
Exactly.
Anyways.
So we use oil revenue, you know, through the sinking fund, you know, to start, you know, paying for that bond. Because it's only when you pay that the repayments, you clear that balance, that your loan won't be going up. So we use about 336 by 350, million, of our own raw revenue to start paying the principal. The former administration NPP came and they used 200 million out of 250 we left to pay off, additional 200, making it about 550 of our own money.
Okay.
That was money we left.
Okay.
Right. And then because we had that bond, the domestic bonds and others, when we wanted to change the method we handle it, we went to the World Bank, got a guarantee, paid off our balances, and agreed with the World Bank that we would now pay the principal, where previously we were not paying principal.
Sure.
We'll be paying the principal in bits, like we do with some other loans. Okay. The long and short is that the markets began to soften for it. They began to have confidence. So we continue to borrow with understanding that we have a mechanism now, so that after the Kufuor's bond, we will start also paying down our bond, right? And we won. Right, and so the interest rate actually started to decline.
In the area of borrowing, I think is an interesting topic that you have raised, and as a theming, as a growing chap, I think that is one area that we must be critical about. Now, you left the total debt stock of our country, and I stand for correction because you're here yourself at 120, even 122 billion before MPP took over in 2016. By the time they had left for this new government to be ushered in, our debt stock had ballooned to a whooping 721 billion. Don't you think that the time is ripe and the time is now that we need to have borrowing ceiling, to deter government from borrowing, which becomes, a kind of paying remnant for generations that do not know anything about such borrowing?
Yeah, you see, because the city was depreciating, when you use nominal, yes, it's big and all that. So people will say use the real numbers. The real numbers is the debt as a percentage of your output, which is your GDP. That we call GDP.
Yes.
Right. We left that as 57. If you use that approach, like what you say, the 120 represents about 57%. It's 56 points.
56.
Yes, yeah.
56.
So 57. Let's say it's 57.
Okay.
What you are narrating that it ballooned, that 57 almost doubled, 98%. And if you add the contingency funds and the rest, yes, under some calculations, it crosses 100. Right? Now, this is two things. If you are borrowing, you are not paying your debt, the time will come when you have difficulty to pay.
You were servicing your debt at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Out of the lesson from the Kufuor bond.
Okay.
It's essentially Kufuor's bond.
Very well. You talked about the sinking fund.
Yes, exactly. So we set up the sinking fund, saying, hey, we cannot continue this way.
Sure.
Otherwise, we cannot, borrow to build the infrastructure. We started doing a lot of infrastructure, right? So we said, when you borrow, learn to pay. And it's in the Constitution. Only the Constitution didn't say shall, that you shall redeem your bond. But it says the government may set up a sinking fund. So since 1992, it was His Excellency John Mahama who set up the sinking fund.
So you're saying that the sinking fund setup has been sitting in Ghana's constitution?
The provision to
all
set
this
up.
While, the provision I'm talking
to
about.
Set up, yes. But it says
and none of the president that came, it took John Dramani Mahama to set up.
Yes, because remember, we had become a middle income country.
Okay.
And previously we were borrowing from low sources. Sometimes we don't pay interest, like the loan which we used to add to Kaiser, American loan to the World Bank loan for the Kosomo Dam.
That's right.
We had 10 years moratorium and 30 years to pay, making 40 years. Right? So it takes a lifetime to pay. That's the World Bank loan. When you become middle income, you don't have that again. You have some of that. But this time, the 40 years becomes 25. The moratorium of 10 years becomes 5. So when, with the service sector growing rapidly, after the heat peak, and with and other ERP, SAP, and other changes, when it started growing rapidly, what happened was that the services sector also started growing very fast. So it overtook agric, right? and then we discovered oil. And we said, wait a minute, we can't just be borrowing without paying. Let's use the oil to address problems which we were having difficulty.
Okay.
With gold and other revenue.
Okay.
So we decided that, we will set up the sinking fund.
Okay.
When you are borrowing cheap and you have 40 years to pay, and in that case you pay principal. So you were paying gradually principal. When we went to the to the stock exchange, that's the outside one, you had the option to pay on interest. But you were not putting money aside to pay the 750. That's where we started. Okay. Now you come to what you call one way of managing your debt.
Okay.
You remember I said we left it at 57.
Yes.
Even as we crept up at
that's the debt to GDP
ratio.
Okay.
Under the old basis, that's the new basis.
Sure.
We were getting close to 70%.
Very well.
Right. Then we started slipping from B plus to B minus. So that should give you an alert. It should give you an alert that if your debt begins to go up to 70,
then you are not servicing it.
And you are not servicing it, your ratings will fall.
Certainly. Right.
And if you continue, it will fall further. So you see B plus, B minus, C, and then junk, CCC.
So then
that's what happened at the NPP.
So then that should lead me to this very question. What has your government been doing right that you think the previous administration didn't do? Because of course it looks as if you are wielding a positive economic outlook. There are a lot of people talking about you. If you could send us through.
Yeah, let me run through them.
Is it because Seth Terkpe is advisor to the president of economic matters? It may have contributed to that, fortune.
No, that's not the point. I don't want to take the credit away from anybody.
Very well.
Even if it is, after all, the initiatives, right? The initiatives that we had, which are proving good now, were stopped by another government.
That's right.
Right. So there is some credit for those who are now, bringing it back, and especially when the one bringing it back was also my deputy.
Yes.
Who was
on Boadu.
Yes. And the team.
You mentored him.
And the team around, yes, and he was in charge of the budget.
That's right.
You see, but to answer your question, remember that for you to come down from B plus to B minus, you cross 65 and you were heading towards 70. So we started repaying the Kufuor bond to bring us back to 65. That tells you that if you take your debt above 65, you are entering into dangerous territory, because based on the capacity of your country, they've done analysis and know that you cannot pay. And that's why when we cross that number, people were saying, wait, go to the fund. The normal salvation, because this thing is getting bad. So if you want to do it on your own, then tell yourself that those who rate me don't like my debt to go above 65.
Because it's not sustainable.
Yes, and if I want to be in B plus, and then probably enter into even A, triple A minus or whatever, the lower level of A,
right.
like Botswana is now.
That's right.
Then it means that I must even keep my debt at about 60. Right. But remember when I'm bringing my debt, level down, right? That also is helping. So if I'm able to bring my debt level down to say 50 or 55, and I enter A, that tells you that the best place for you to operate, you're right, is between 55 or 50 or 55, and then 60 or 65.
Is it
that is the ceiling and the floor.
Is it per African standard? Because then
no, that's
you could do better than 50.
Well, you could do better,
yes.
But you are a developing country.
As a developing country. We are tying the argument to the confines of
yes, or you are also
developing countries.
But not just that, you are starting.
Very well.
And when you go down to 30, 35, you are squeezing yourself too much.
As a country,
because you need to develop infrastructure. Why are you borrowing? You are borrowing, so the difference is the interest rate. So when you were at 65 and you were crossing, your interest rate went up, and one instance even and the rest went up to 12.
Okay. So I wanted you to give a take on whether or not you think it is ripe that we give a ceiling to how much could be borrowed by a government?
It's prudent. That's prudent management.
Right. Is your government ready to consider that?
No, but we implemented it. As I said, that was a philosophy behind setting up the sinking fund. Right? Behind the sinking fund to bring the total debt back. I hear people saying, especially members in the past administration saying, but everybody, the debt includes old debt, includes NDC debt, includes, yes.
But that's legacy debt. Anyways.
Legacy debt, but you are responsible. Just as we are taking over their debts now.
Okay.
You see the point? So legacy. A legacy means that you are taking over from one government. So why did you stop? If the thing was good. You see, because after all, we had, the fortitude to of oil to begin to take off His Excellency Kufuor's bond. So why do you come in and give it as an excuse that this debt is NDC and therefore I'm not going to take it off?
Sir, the others...
And the consequence is that we defaulted. On that debt also, just like a domestic one. So that should tell us that there is something good about managing your debt. And not say it belongs to this person or that. Of course, if the debt was not taken well, if there was some, let's say, more practice in managing the debt, and that's for audit. That's for, but it doesn't destroy the fact that, in principle, you must manage the debt.
Very well.
As a government.
So, sir, we can boldly say, as onlookers, that so far, so good in terms of your economic turnover. But there are others, I do not want to call them detractors or naysayers. Maybe they have genuine case. And they posit that very soon we will start servicing our debts in high quantity. And that may have adverse effects on the cedi appreciation currently. What do you say to that, with the much experiential knowledge you've acquired, if you could bring that back?
Yeah, first of all, they forget that for as long as we continue managing the gold in a better way, it has become a sustainable source of flow to the reserves.
What if the prices of gold come down?
If it comes down,
yes,
then another philosophy of the Mahama administration kicks in. Another philosophy in the Petroleum Revenue Management Act kicks in. Which Ms. Mahama put in place, kicks in. And that one says that if your gold price is increasing, if your cocoa price is increasing, right, remember that one day it will fall.
Okay.
Because you are not in total control, like the war. And it applies to petrol prices.
Okay.
Just as we are seeing now. So the principle there is the stabilization fund. Make the situation stable.
But that is depleted by the former administration.
But that's my point. So, and we saw the consequence. As a consequence of that, it's part of the risk. Because remember, the sinking fund is actually fed from the stabilization fund. So if you clean that for consumption, then you are naked. You are completely naked, right? But the principle I want to establish by drawing attention to this is that so gold prices are going up, cocoa prices are going up, right? They say put that part of that money aside for a rainy day. Because that rainy day will come. Right?
Yes.
And so we started a stabilization fund. And we started a contingency fund. And let me give you a practical example.
Very well.
When we started a contingency fund in 2013, by 2015, we had the Kwame Nkrumah fire and whatever disaster, and we've been talking about the 10th anniversary of that.
Yes.
Right?
The second one.
The second one. Yes. The first monies that were taken out.
They call it the twin disaster.
The twin disaster. Yeah. The first monies that were taken out, right? You can Google and see, to help the victims, right, was from the contingency fund. Because they had to go to Parliament to go and get it.
That's right.
So why did we stop? And if we had kept it, could we have helped the Kwang disaster people?
Certainly.
Because after all, that was set up with one oil field. And we went on to have 3 oil fields. So what's the reason? Why? You don't want to make a sacrifice or what? You see my point? So we are saying that in terms of managing, right, the price that goes up and it goes down one day, as we are saying, now that it's going up, right, keep some in the reserves. You see? In other words, going up, keep some in the reserves, because one day yes, as we are saying, the price could fall. Right, the price could fall, and if it's not falling, and you think that you have enough, you can take part of it to do infrastructure or something. Yes. So again, it's management, and let me relate this to. I think sometimes our listeners understand better when you talk about families, right? Because government is like family. Your child will fall sick. Your child will go and play, will have catarrh. Your child will go and play football, he will have some scratches. Right? You think that if you don't put part of your salary aside to buy medicine and whatever in the night when they are warm and hot before you even go to the clinic to administer first aid, right? Do you think you are doing your family any good?
No.
By not saving, by just, consuming. So if families learn to keep some money for a rainy day, or if because I cannot buy my first set of furniture as a worker, and I go and do high purchase, or I take a loan, you think that if I don't pay, I can go to the same bank and ask for money to buy a TV?
No, you have to pay first.
Precisely. So it's the same practice that we have at home. That's what we're applying, to governments. Yeah.
Okay, so in case...
So in other words, to sum up, we are saying management of the economy is not just about presenting a budget and, but you must look at the weaknesses or the likely weaknesses which you have gone through in the past, which you are likely to go through, and even unforeseen ones, COVID, who foresaw it, and prepare for them. So it's a lack of preparation.
Yes.
That makes it so.
With the stabilization fund that
exactly the sinking fund, the stabilization fund, contingency.
Yes.
Those are what you call the budget buffers. Okay. Or the stabilizers.
Right,
and advanced countries.
So Honorable, we'll be turning, or we'll be having a new direction. We want to do a bit on the book that you have written, but so that I do not forget, I want you to have a bite on the one Ghana city that you wanted to introduce and the impact it would have made on the economy. Now, MPP, for instance, say that you spoke with all vehemence, against the introduction of the electronic levy, which was, providing in excess of, say, 2.5 billion cedis. And yet, you have introduced, of course, you said you want to introduce later, but currently, you wanted to introduce what would have accrued about 5.7 billion annually. They say that you are insensitive. And why did you withdraw that? Because then we thought you were in the process of convincing Ghanaians on that, especially when we are saddled with so much energy debts.
Because crude prices started to rise.
Because of the war?
Yes, of course, obviously. Because within a few days, the tension was mounting. It just came around that time. So by the time, remember, it was deferred. So by the time it was going to be introduced, it was going to be, burdensome. And so and then also, remember, there was another reason. That's the current reason. But the other reason was all marketing companies were asking for time to calibrate, right? And apparently because this should have been part of the structure for the past years, and we haven't done it. It will take time to really calibrate so many pumps because it's paid at the pump. So that was the primary reason. But another reason now is that crude oil prices, have gone up. So that was a sufficiently good reason, right? But you see, I think the preaching is getting interesting. Because this we are getting an education from, the party that said ESLA was a nuisance tax, right? And for 8 years collected the money and did not pay the IPPs, right? And that debt,
yes,
is because that debt still exists.
That's true.
If that debt had gone, we would have had space, and nobody would complain about the levy, because that's the steepest levy that we did.
That was even collateralized.
But we're still exactly. That's what the point I was going to make.
Yeah.
So that was collateralized. So it means that collateralization means that you collect the money up front. Like I said, we collected some money up front and we use it to refinance, the 200 million balance that was left on the before bond. This was completely misapplied, right? So the revenue flows was misapplied.
Yeah.
The money from the loan was also misapplied in addition to COVID loan and all of that, right? And you're saying that, he
Sure.
immediately, now e-levy, the e-levy, you see, what we are forgetting is that we had a VAT on fees and charges for financial services because VAT is on consumption. It's not on savings. It's not on investment.
Okay.
And it was taken off. That's a true electronic tax because the VAT is on consumption. It's on everybody's consumption.
Everybody pays.
Everybody pays. Income tax. Everybody pays. Unless the law says that textbooks should not attract VAT. Unless the law says the food we bought in the market.
Those are very few exemptions. So
basic, and they take a significant amount of low-income people.
Sure.
So you are providing a buffer, for them. Same with income tax. It starts with zero, a certain amount. Then those who earn slightly higher, very low is exempt. Slightly higher, you pay 5%. A bit higher, you pay 10%. Until it gets to 33, 35, which will reduce to 25. Right? For those who are earning real big money.
Great.
So these are some of the principles that we are talking about. So if you remove that, right, the tax on the consumption, which is the tax on fees, and you impose a tax on investments, on savings. After I have collected my money and I'm transferring it to my mother in the village or whatever, you are imposing a tax, not just on the fee, but on the fact that I'm transferring. That is punishing investment and savings. Why? Because remember,